Good morning, friends. I hope this weekly e-news finds you well on this day. I want to talk to you a little bit about the meaning of covenant and why it's so important to our work as a local church within the United Church of Christ, but also as our denomination. As a part of the local church, we are in covenant with each other. And what does covenant mean? Covenant means promise, a promise to be in relationship with each other. It's very biblical. We hear about the word covenant in the story of Noah and how God gives Noah a covenant that there will not be destruction of a flood again. And so there is the symbol of the rainbow that talks about God's covenant with God's people. There's also covenant with Abraham and Sarah, as God says to them, I promise to you a land, and here it is, and you will bear children, and we will figure out ways in which we can establish a way to grow and to be in right relationship with each other in the land of Israel. As we gather as a community of faith, we are in covenant with each other and our ministries, how we share our time and our talent, our treasure, how we laugh together and be in fellowship together as we worship together. That also then relates to how we do work at a broader sense. Last weekend, we had the Minnesota Conference annual meeting in which delegates from each of the local churches within the Minnesota Conference gather, send delegates, and we hear from one another. We hear each other's stories. We talk about what we are faced as local congregations and how the conference then assists us in ways in which of developing programming. One of the things that they had talked about was the small church initiative, in which some of us have gone to, recognizing that 71% of our churches in the Minnesota Conference are worshiping with 50 or less on Sunday mornings. We have a lot of similarities and we have unique qualities as local churches, and how then we can work together through our covenant, through our connections, through our promise to hold each other in prayer and to also to learn from one another. And then in a much broader sense, the General Synod of the United Church of Christ, which will be taking place at the end of June, is where all the conferences and local churches of conferences, because we know that the General Synod is made up of conferences are made up of local churches. These delegates from these conferences gather to create the General Synod. And as of now, the General Synod meets every 2 years, though there is a bylaw change being proposed at this General Synod that in order to be good stewards of our money and resources and time, that General Synod would shift to every 3 years. How then do we maintain covenant? How then do we continue to learn from one another, be in relationship with one another, lean in on one another, and pray for each other? Those will be the questions that we talk about and discern at our General Synod. So covenant is that common strand that runs through our work together. Jesus was in covenant with his disciples when he taught with them and showed them how to commune together, how to offer table fellowship, how to listen and show compassion and mercy. Covenant is that promise that we hold each other in love. My friends, on this day, as we gather together as a body, may we take a moment to think about our personal covenants in which we have, the relationships that we hold dear, and how then we can continue to strengthen them. May God's light and love be with you on this day, and I hope to see you real soon.